So this guy is riding his bike one day when he goes past an old cement plant, and suddenly he has an idea. What if this cement plant could become an amusement park? His name is Bob Casserly, and he calls his idea Cement Land. But Bob isn't just a nobody. He's actually a well-known sculptor who created St. Louis City Museum, a very successful project that even featured a jungle gym. So with this, he has the means to complete his idea. So he buys the lot and starts building. Because of the leftover dirt and cement from companies dumping it over there, he was able to somewhat afford this monstrous project. His idea for Cement Land was to make a place where you could do stuff you couldn't normally do. The site also featured a great view of the St. Louis Archway, but unfortunately, neither we nor him got to see the completed site. He was sadly unalived on March 26, 2011. He passed away on the site due to a construction accident. With no one else to fund the project, construction ceased, and Cement Land will have to live on in our imaginations. If you like stories like these, please like and subscribe for daily content. So this dude is running from the police, and it's working. He's evaded the police for multiple weeks now, but he's Gen Z. So of course, he decides to post on his Snapchat story. His post mentioned that he was hiding from the police in his home. So of course, one of his followers tips off the cops, and police show up at his house. But he isn't there. And the reason the cops don't find him is because he's hiding in the kitchen cupboard. Don't ask me how he fit in there. But this guy decides, while he's in the kitchen cupboard and there are still cops at his house, to post another thing on his Snapchat story. This time explaining how there are cops in his house and he is hiding in the kitchen cupboard. I honestly don't see how that could go wrong. After being tipped off, the police check the cupboard, and sure enough, there he is, just in between some pans. The funniest part is this guy, whose name is Christopher Wallace, was being chased by the cops for allegedly stealing cooking equipment. So I suppose he's back where he started. Anyway, if you like stories like these, please like and subscribe for daily content. So this guy is tired of waiting at the hospital. So he comes up with the bright idea to rob said hospital. Okay, so this guy's name is Danny Konechny, and his neighbors reported him to be really drunk. And so he got taken to the hospital, and he was waiting for 2 hours when he just got impatient of waiting. So he decides to just rob the place because it's Florida, and why not? So he goes on out and steals an ambulance. Why? Well, he just wanted to drive home. But don't worry, he has a foolproof cover plan. To divert suspicion, he parked the ambulance in the neighbor's driveway. The same neighbors that reported him. How could that possibly go wrong? Police found him hiding in the trunk of his car that was inside his garage. My question for you though, do you think he was drunk? If you like stories like these, please like and subscribe for daily content. The United States military flew in helicopters, tanks, and hundreds of soldiers just to cut down a tree. In 1976, one of the most bizarre military operations in history took place over a tree. After 2 U.S. soldiers were unalived by North Korean forces while trimming branches in the demilitarized zone, the United States launched Operation Paul Bunyan, a massive, over-the-top show of force just to cut down the offending tree. Armed with tanks, helicopters, and hundreds of soldiers, they arrived not to fight, but to chop wood. Even B-52 bombers were put on standby just in case. Despite the absurdity of sending an entire army to prune a tree, the plan worked. North Korea didn't interfere. Likely they were stunned by the pure theatricality of it all. In the end, the infamous tree came down, but the whole operation felt more like a surreal slapstick comedy than a serious military maneuver. If you like stories like these, please like and subscribe for daily content. Did you know that competitive toilet seat racing is a sport? There truly is a competitive audience for anything. And I mean anything. This isn't just a gimmick. I'm talking about actual toilet seat races. Where do I even begin? If you haven't looked at the images, essentially, you take your toilet seat, apply 2 to 3 wheels, then use toilet plungers as a sort of ski pole, and then you race. Despite the strangeness of this sport, it's actually a little bit wholesome. The sport originated locally in the town of Sharpe, Colorado, where competitions are held annually. The winners even get a golden plunger. Competitions are held in all age groups, and since the beginning of the sport, it's grown more and more each year. So if anyone ever tells you a sport is weird, just ask them. This dude cannot die. His name is Frain Salat, and he's a music teacher who survived 7 different near-death experiences. First, he survived a train derailing where 17 people were killed, and then only a year later, he fell out of a plane during a crash, and he landed in a haystack with a broken arm. Then, he survived a 4-fatality bus crash into a river, took on 2 close-call car fires like it was nothing, and then to finish off his amazing story, he gets hit by a bus. And of course he survives. Did I mention that after surviving all of these near-death situations, he wins the lottery for about 900,000 euros? I swear, this dude literally just said, nah, I'd win. If you like stories like these, please like and subscribe for daily content. So this dude's robbing a Wendy's, but one of the employees trips the silent alarm and police show up. With his plans botched, this guy, whose name is Philip Workman, makes a run for it. However, this police officer, Lieutenant Ronald Oliver, was there, and he was sadly shot on the spot. Philip was caught and put on trial in 1982. He was quickly convicted and sentenced to death. However, the entire case was all just a bit fishy. For example, the witness who testified to having seen the workman shoot the lieutenant had not been seen on the site by any other witnesses. And the autopsy of Lieutenant Oliver showed that the bullet that killed him shouldn't have been able to be fired by Workman's gun. So 37 minutes before his execution in 2001, Tennessee Supreme Court overruled, in turn saving Workman's life, for the time being that is. After a series of appeals, that court decision was overruled by the U.S. Court of Appeals. Workman was back on death row, and this time he didn't get out. His last meal request was a veggie pizza, but not for him. He wanted to be given to a homeless person, but for some reason the prison denied his request. But on May 9th, 2007, the day of his execution, homeless shelters all around Tennessee were donated pizzas of various toppings. No one can know what truly happened that fateful day of the robbery. So this guy just saw a squirrel get unalived, and it's not the first time. This guy's name is Amos Peters, and in 1963, on his daily walking commute to work in Longview, Washington, he would always see squirrels get hit by cars on the road while trying to cross. But for most people, they would just shrug it off because there's nothing they can really do about it. Or is there? Amos gets an idea. What if there was a bridge for the squirrels to cross? After getting together a few friends, he built the first bridge out of antenna stock. It was a huge success. Squirrels genuinely use the bridge to cross the road on a daily basis. Nowadays, it's expanded even more, and there's a total of 8 bridges in Longview, helping save squirrels' lives every day. And it's all thanks to this guy. If you like stories like these, please like and subscribe for daily content. You know how in video games, sometimes there are arrows pointing to where you need to go? Wouldn't it be helpful if those existed in real life? Well, they do. Sort of. You see, in 1924, planes are bad. I mean, really bad. It takes 33 hours to get from New York to San Francisco at the time. And not only are they bad, they're unsafe. And navigation is horrible, but we're just starting to use planes as a means of shipping mail. And so we need a new system. So the US Post Office comes up with this idea to build these massive concrete arrows on the ground to guide planes to where they're supposed to go. The arrows will be accompanied with a beacon and a small shack, sort of like a lighthouse for planes. And they work. So they build more and more, and they end up making 1,500 beacons. But once advanced navigation and GPS come into play, towers sort of just become obsolete and useless. So when World War II comes around, the towers are stripped for steel. And now all we have left are these giant concrete arrows in the ground. Which reminds me, did you know that ancient Greeks had cell phones? Well, not exactly, but they did have something just as astonishing for their time: the Antikythera mechanism. Discovered in a shipwreck from around 100 BC, this ancient device is often considered the world's first analog computer. With its intricate system of bronze gears and dials, it could predict astronomical events, like eclipses, and track planetary movements with remarkable accuracy. It's hard to believe that such advanced technology existed in the ancient world, but this device proves that Greeks were far ahead of their time. What makes the Antikythera mechanism so groundbreaking is that it wasn't just a tool. It functioned like an early computer, capable of processing complex data to model celestial cycles. Long before the machinery, the Greeks engineered a device that could calculate the positions of the heavenly bodies. This wasn't just for stargazing. It likely influenced everything from navigation to religious festivals. The Antikythera mechanism is a striking reminder that ancient civilizations had their own cutting-edge technology, long before the digital age. If you like stories like these, please like and subscribe for daily content.